Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the Ninjutso Sora again, but that's because Ninjutso has finally come out and said and addressed the issues with the sensor and connection issues with the Sora. And they finally did. And they have stated that the issue is not to do with the MCU, like I thought it was, and a lot of other people thought. I know it's not great to speculate, but that's just what I thought. But it was actually due to the sensors on some of the copies not being soldered fully flat and even with the PCB and left up a few millimeters than it was supposed to. And that caused the skipping. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the sensor skipping, it's basically anytime I wanted to move the mouse, sometimes it randomly stuttered and skipped. It will just it's like trying to jolt you back from where you're actually trying to move the mouse. It's like fighting you. The sensor's like actually fighting you on where you want to move the mouse, and it's impossible to play with. And it is a deal breaker, and is the reason why I don't main this mouse anymore. If it didn't have this issue, I would still be maining this mouse to this day. But unfortunately, I got a bad copy with the sensor skipping issue that a lot of other people got on their mouse. And I get a lot of people didn't have this issue, but at the same time, a lot of people, even some reviewers, got this issue, which just sucks. And now they have stated that they now have a factory personnel to examine the sensors before assembly, and the issues have been solved. Thank God. Now I'm probably a red Sora is coming out, and I'm probably just gonna get that, and that's gonna be my new mouse, because honestly I have no other problems with this Sora, and that's the reason why I say if I didn't have this issue with the sensor, I would still be maintaining this mouse, because the click feeling is the best I've ever had on any mouse, and that's extremely high praise coming from me, because I'm extremely picky when it comes to click feeling. Even my current main, the Death Adder version 3, and yes, they use opticals, but even then, the clicks are still kind of mushy, and also, I don't like the scroll wheel as a whole on the Death Adder version 3, like, basically at all. It's too loose for me, and also, it's way too loose to the point where some copies, and it is notorious for this, on some copies, it will just randomly jump when you don't want it to be, because it's that loose. And also it has like maybe an issue with the scroll encoder, but yeah, that's like terrible, especially when you're paying $150 for the mouse. And I actually do have a build quality issue that a lot of other people have had, where if you see the sidewall here, if I push that in a little bit, like this is where I primarily hold the mouse, by the way. When I push it in a little bit, I'm not even using like a ton of force. You can see it like slightly moves a little bit, and it moves in. That really is not a good thing for $150. I've had no issues with the walls, the side walls on this. They've had no flexing, nothing like that, no creaking with the actual switches, no problems with the side buttons. While on these, the side buttons just don't feel that great. They're okay, but they're kind of mushy, and they also kind of wobble back and forth, as you can see here. Like, it's just kind of annoying. But they have stated that they didn't really care about the price when they were picking out the parts for these, and the reason why it was skipping is not due to the MCU, like a lot of other people thought. And part of me wants to think that's true, but another part of me wants to say, if you're not really caring about price, why not just get like a top-of-the-line MCU, like a Nordic MCU, like this one uses, like the Death Adder version 3, and like Logitech, top of the line Logitech MCUs. I mean, why not just get those if you don't really care about price? That's just what I think. Maybe it's due to availability. I don't know, but as long as that sensor skipping issue is fixed, I'm fine with it. And as I stated, I'm probably just going to get the red Sora, because, as I already said, the shape is pretty good. And actually, I use Relaxed Claw that's my primary grip. I keep mispronouncing so many words. That's my primary grip style, and yeah, it feels pretty good in the hand. I would still say that the MP01 by Vaxi is my favorite shape, but I would say that this is probably my second favorite shape, and then the Death Adder version 3 is my third favorite, and then the XMNR is my fourth favorite shape. But yeah, this is still a pretty great shape, but I still think the MP01 is like top of the line. But That is actually coming out way later. I'm pretty sure that's like coming out in like quarter two of this year and maybe like October, as late as October. So yeah, I'm probably just gonna get the red Sora. And you guys might be wondering why I'm getting like a different mouse because I just recently got the Death Adder version 3. But as I've already stated, I don't want to get a fucking scroll wheel issue. And a lot of people have had this jumping scroll wheel issue. And even though this is the top of the line mouse, it still has issues, as I've already stated, like the scroll wheel being pretty not great and being very loose and way too loose for my liking. In fact, the buttons, just all of them just feeling a little bit mushy, especially just the main clicks. Although they're not nearly as mushy, and this is way better built than like the Death Adder version 2, where that felt like it was just gonna break in my hands every time I used it because it was that creaky and it was that poorly built. Because Razer's build quality was terrible in like mid 2017. It was like awful. But yeah, this is still a great mouse, and like it still has a lot of great things going for it because again, it's like a top of the line mouse, and for example, the performance is pretty great. So I'm itching my hand, but yeah, this is a great mouse. It just has a lot of issues like the scroll wheel skipping that I don't want to get. I don't have it on this mouse yet, but I don't want to search for it. And I don't want to really get it because a lot of people did get this on their copy, which is unfortunate because again, you're paying $150 for this mouse for that level of quality. That's not amazing. And also, as I stated, the side buttons just don't feel great, and they're a little bit mushy and they are a little bit wobbly, and the main buttons are just, they're good, but they're just a little bit mushy, as I've stated. But yeah, also, as much as I kind of like seeing the grime, I know a lot of people like, ew, why do you like seeing the grime? But I like seeing it because I can just clean it off. Sometimes I just don't want to fucking see it because it just reminds me of how disgusting my mouse looks. But it kind of does at the same time remind me to clean my mouse, so I don't know. It's like a double-edged sword, but yeah, that's probably the main reason why I'm going to be getting the Sora, because again, I had no issues with this besides that sensor skipping issue. While I do have issues with this mouse when it's $50 more, and yeah, that's basically it, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.